All right, guys, it is Wednesday. I am here. Wish I could say I'm ready to rock and roll. Nice and stiff. It is cold. It's cold in here. Been here about 45 minutes trying to get the place a little warm. I got here and it was about 46 degrees Fahrenheit inside. It was about 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. And while that may be fine and warm for you where you are, that is a huge contrast to what we are used to in the summers here, or even a couple hours ago when the sun was up and bright and shining. So I've got the heaters going, trying to get some heat going. I really prefer, I've got my jacket off, so I want to acclimate a little bit to what the temperature is going to be like while I'm training. So, but I really prefer it to be nice and warm by the time I get going, especially if I'm using gear, because you're taking clothes off, putting clothes back on. It's nice to have a sweat and not to go from sweaty to cold and then try to regain that sweat again. So I've got a lot of things I wrote down on paper that I would like to do. A lot of things I think I need to do, but in reality I probably don't need to be doing. So my box squats, I really want to continue with the heavy band tension. I'm trying to figure out where I can add the average bands on here this week. So I'm probably going with the Mondos, the heavies, and the average bands. Somewhere in the area of 600. Let me see, that's 250 plus 200 plus 150. So somewhere around 600 pounds in band tension, 55-pound bar. So that's 65 pounds, 655 just before you start adding plates. So it gets heavy really, really fast. So that's what I would like to do. Last week, the band tension that I used really ate my hands up. Just all of my joints getting wedged into the bar, all of that movement, because you want to be tight, you want to be pulling, you got to be wedged hard with the heavy squat. Your hands can't be relaxed. Everything should be absolutely intense. So I definitely paid the price for it last week. I was in a lot of pain for several days through my fingers, wrist, and palms. Had a nice little bruise across here. So I don't think I want to be quite there. So I'm going to play it as we'll see what happens. I want to do the sumo box deadlifts speed style. 2 plates plus the bands. 5 sets of 2 would be ideal, or even 5 sets of 1. I wrote down that I wanted to do some regular speed conventional deadlifts. I want to get used to having my jacked deadlift suit on, playing with that. I also wanted to do some chain suspended good mornings. The bar is already here and set up just to go through the motion, but I don't know if I really need to do that at this point. Not for sure how much of any of that I can really do and how much I need to do. Back feels okay, but it is nice and tender from working probably a solid 14 hours sitting in a chair on Monday. So it's nice and sore. I still want to go outside and do a car deadlift, but I don't want to go outside in the mud and set everything up, and the tires are filled with water and mosquitoes, and I probably don't need it today. So the main thing that I do need is the box squats. I need to get home and continue to do my reverse hypers every single night, which is what I've been doing. So one exercise at a time. Let's get the heat a little bit higher in here. This bar actually hurts to touch. Let's get this heat a little bit higher in here, and just move slowly and see what we can do. I bet we do great things. What do you think? All right, guys, that was Wednesday's training session. I ended up cutting things short. Had this huge, massive, long plan of things I wanted to get done. Man, I'm dizzy after the box squats. I am dizzy. In the very end, we looked at, that was, what was that in band tension? 600 pounds in band tension. Yeah, 600 in band tension. And then I worked up to 415 in bar weight on my last set. But then, you look at my 5 sets of 2 were with 235 plus 600 in bands. And that's only at, at the top, where I'm standing up with it and locked out. I'm guessing each band is adding between 25 and 50 pounds at the bottom, somewhere around there. So we're looking at somewhere between 75 and 150, we'll call it 100 pounds it's adding at the bottom, and then 600 at the top. So the contrast is really, really big, really fast. And if you're not explosive out of the hole, you're not going to make it to the top. And that's actually not that hard to do when you only have 2 plates on the bar. So you can be really explosive, at least you should be able to be really explosive with 2 plates on the bar. You start adding more straight weight on there, it makes it more difficult to be explosive out of the bottom. And that band tension is going to catch up with you really, really fast and slow you down. So that bar ate into my shoulders pretty bad. I think you can probably tell it on most of my sets when I finished. It really dug in through my rear delts, upper back, through my hands, elbows, biceps. Most of it is where it's smashing down on that rear delt. And when it smashes down on that rear delt, it hits sometimes that exact spot where the rotator cuff likes to attach from your scapula up to your rotator cuff shoulder area, and then it's going to pull back down to the front on that bicep. So, man, it hurt. Felt like it was ripping my right pec and shoulder just completely off the bone. After my 5 sets of 2, it hurt. The 3 plates felt pretty solid. The 4 plates actually felt pretty good. It's all about getting the bar on the right position when you unrack it out of this rack. I've mentioned it before, but this rack is much more difficult than a standard monolift because you have to unrack it leaning forward, upper back rounded forward a little bit, and then you have to good morning it back and out. So you've got that bar instead of getting it set where you want and then mashing your body into it until it comes up, which is the safest thing to do, you have to swing and rock it out. So instead of that bar going up and down, that bar starts going this way. And the more weight you put on it, the more dangerous it becomes. You add the bands kind of center it a little bit. And I've got the band set, so once I unrack it, they kind of drive my feet into the ground and get me into position. At least I hope they do. When you use chains with that setup and you unrack it, the chain starts swinging like that, and it gets really dangerous really fast. So the unrack becomes the most difficult issue. Getting it in the right position and getting it set, letting the bar settle before I start to move. I decided not to do the sumo deadlifts, sumo box deadlifts, the conventional speed deadlifts, good mornings, and it just came down to how important are they right now. So if I do the sumo box deadlifts and I'm feeling right now, I've got an adductor that's sore, not necessarily painful, but it's sore. I've been doing a lot of reverse hypers and it's getting sore. Hamstrings are sore, again, from the reverse hypers. I've got a spot in my quad that's a little sore. It's being set off from the reverse hypers or staying sore, but it cramped up on one of my warm-ups, which is standard, it always cramps up. My right hip is a little tender. Could just be from sitting around, could be from anything, really. But sumo box, even though I need the hamstring work, I need the glute work, I need the lower back work, I need the lat work, the sumo box deadlifts, are they going to help me more than they're going to hurt me right now? Risk versus reward. Greater chance of helping me versus greater chance of leaving me sore. Same thing with the speed conventional deadlifts. Last week I went to pull 2 plates plus the bands, didn't get it off the ground because my back just said no, that's it, we're done for the day. So there's a good chance I was going to get to the exact same position today. Good mornings, yeah, those would be great. I could make them work, but after everything else, do I really need that? After unracking, more than 1,000 pounds and box squatting it, Do I really need to be doing good mornings with a plate, plate and a half per side, because that's what my spine, my back can handle right now? Is that going to benefit me? So I went in the back and did set